folks, and welcome back to Around Our World in 80. We're both a little tired. Reagan's very, very tired. She's actually already in bed. We had a big day running around the park and hanging out, and she didn't really take a nap. But we're excited to do another Disneybounding Our Life episode, and it's kind of a non-traditional movie. Like, it's not a cartoon or like super popular. Like, you're not going to find IP of it in the parks. But this week we watched Secretariat, which, if you don't know, is a horse movie. But it's actually based on a real-life horse. And he was, the first horse in 20-something years to win the Triple Crown? Did I get my facts right?
It's like 25 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So it came out in 2010. Wikipedia describes it as an American biographical sports drama film.
Are you going to be leaving that in there? Or?
I don't know. We'll see what mood I'm in when it comes to editing. So the film is based largely on William Knack's book, Secretariat, The Making of a Champion. He was also a consultant for the film and made a cameo appearance. Part of the film was shot on location in both Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky for 3 weeks, then moved to Louisiana to reproduce the Triple Crown in fields at Evangeline Downs located in Carencro, Louisiana? Good enough?
Looks like what I would say.
Okay. Several horses were used to depict Secretariat in the film, chief among them Trolley Boy, whose great-great-grandsire was the real-life Secretariat, and Longshot Max, whose bloodline includes Secretariat's sire Bold Ruler, as well as his grandsire Prince Quilo?
Sure.
So they actually used horses that actually have bloodlines to Secretariat. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. Critical response. Secretariat has received mixed reviews. Rotten Tomato gives the film a score of 64%. The site's critical consensus is rousing, heartwarming, and squarely traditional. Secretariat offers exactly what you'd expect from an inspirational Disney drama, no more, no less.
I thought it was really good.
I thought it was great. But no, I thought it was actually a very surprisingly awesome film.
It was really good.
I didn't really know what to expect. And it definitely has now become like one of my favorite movies. I realize I'm the type of person that the last movie I see is my favorite movie. But this one actually I felt like I walked away.
You change favorite movies like you change underwear.
I actually walked away from this movie feeling like I kind of learned something.
We didn't really walk away. We were sitting on the couch.
True.
But
I was telling you afterwards, just watching her journey through being a housewife, moving back to Kentucky and helping out with the farm.
Traveling back and forth
the whole time, trying to balance doing that and being a mom and a wife in 1970 and what that's supposed to look like. There's so many points where she could have quit, and I probably would have, to be quite honest. And she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And to that part, to me, was just really mind-blowing.
Also really surprising just with the times and stuff. Her husband was very understanding even by today's standards. And back then, that would have been, at least from what I know about the 70s, which is not a lot. I feel like that would have been a really big deal back then, more so than today. And
he wasn't necessarily for it in the beginning, but he didn't actively try to stop her.
Yeah, no, he held down the fort back home with 3 kids and a job to support everything she was doing, basically, while she would be gone for 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
That's
a lot.
That's a lot. So this week, we actually went on a guided horseback ride, which was really cool.
It was really cool. And it wasn't really your standard horseback ride either. All the horseback rides that I've been on, they put you on the horse, and then they guide you in line, and then they walk for maybe 30 minutes, and then come back, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, and to boot, we actually rode past the brush fire So that was kind of interesting.
That was different. But let's go in like chronological order and help people understand like what we did. First of all,
we got in the car.
You were so
and then we drove for like
frustrated,
45 minutes.
But yeah, we weren't waiting on a lot of people. Like everybody actually showed up on time, which I thought was like
except one.
And because it was Valentine's Day, it was actually a Valentine's Day themed extravaganza. And it was a couples only ride, so there were no kids on this ride. And so they kind of had us line up, and I guess we're just kind of trying to gauge height and weight and like pair you with a horse that would work for you, which I thought was actually ironic. And we actually started talking about it on the trail at one point, like how basically they paired us with horses that matched our personality. So Jared's was like really super easygoing and like just kind of moseying along, and mine was like spazzo.
Ornery, I think is the word we used.
Ornery is good. Spazzo's a fun word though. Anyway, so they lined us up, and then they paired us off with horses. Yours name was Thor. Mine's was Scout. And they actually had you actually walk in a circle around like the little area.
I was the first one on a horse. She was the second or third one on a horse. Yeah. And so while everyone else was getting on, they had us ride circles around the corral, basically, and just kind of keep the horses moving.
Yeah. The dog literally just walked up and sat next to Jared like this. And then they also kind of like lined you up in the order that they were going to want you to go. Mm-hmm. And I guess we were the intermediate group because both of us had been on a horse, but it had been a few years. And so then there ended up being 4 in our group. You, me, and then one other couple. Mm-hmm. And our guide's name was Shauna, and she was amazing. I think because I was right behind her most of the time, we talked a lot more than everybody else did because they just couldn't hear her. But she was very friendly and just kind of was making sure that we were watching out for what, trees and things that could, grab our feet or...
It should be mentioned that my horse was literally about 1.5 feet taller than every other horse.
Yes.
And I was about 1 foot taller than everyone else there. So I was like 3 feet above everybody else while we were riding.
So she was very cognizant of like making sure that branches, like she would reach up and grab dead branches and like break them off.
She would ride under and be like, look out for the treetop up there as you ride past.
But your horse was actually supposed to be like a police horse, right?
At one point, he was too big.
Yeah. But yeah, so then as we're going through the woods, there's a really beautiful area just south of Lake Grapevine that we went to. We got really nice vistas of the lake, and that's where we saw the brush fire. And we actually had commented, we're like, wow, we can hear sirens from over here. That's kind of weird out in the middle of this area. And lo and behold, what would you say, 50 feet from where we were, where the trail was actually a brush fire. And we kind of like assessed. Our guide was awesome, and she just was like, hey, are we gonna get cut off? Like, did they have it under control? And by the time we had gotten there, like, the firemen had gotten the fire under control, and it really wasn't that big a deal. But it was still kind of like made you think for a second. Like, whoa. Our guide was more worried about how the horses were going to react, like if they were going to get skittish or anything like that.
She was definitely thinking of safety of the people and the horses first.
Yeah. But it ended up being totally fine. The firemen were already on top of it, and we got to do the rest of our ride. And I loved it because not only did we do like several different creek crossings, but we also got to trot a little bit, which was a lot of fun.
A lot of it.
A lot of it. It was probably my favorite part, even though I'm like really sore today, a day later. But just being able to actually go like faster than just a walk, and like my horse especially was like really like gung-ho about running. And it was fun. It was so much fun.
It was fun.
There was even a point where our horses were actually like starting to like leap over the creek because they didn't want to get in the mud. Mm-hmm. We did see a family deer. We saw a blue heron. It kind of got to that like nice golden hour, so we got to see part of the sunset. Anything that was your favorite when we were on the trail?
It was just fun being out there. I guess I always get along with the animals really well, and so I was just having a fun time kind of petting the horse I was on as we were riding. And I mean, they all knew what they were doing, so it wasn't like you really had to steer them or anything too much. They kind of just fell in line. And
yeah.
So I just kind of took the time to scratch his mane and pet him on the side of his neck and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and just have fun. I always enjoy petting horses or petting animals around and whatnot.
Yeah. And then because it was Valentine's Day, they had like strawberries and champagne afterwards, and like the little, I don't know what you call it, office sitting area shed. But it was really nice. They did that up really well, and they had like props that you could take pictures with, and ended up being the oldest people there by far. That was in like the guest group. Everybody's like, oh, it's our first Valentine's Day, and Jared and I are like, I think it's our 11th.
I had no questions on which one it was, okay, before we get too far.
No, Jared knew, and I had to do the math, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marshall Creek Ranch, we highly suggest it if you are in the DFW area. I loved it. And then we went to dinner at Heartache Barbecue because we're apparently that country.
Segways.
Woo! It was really good food. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see y'all real soon. Bye!